The Los Angeles Clippers have been building something no one saw coming. While every other team in the league has been playing it safe this offseason, the Clippers said, screw it, and went absolutely all in.
Deflection by Harden, he's got time. He pulls up from three ahead of the horn. Oh, he put it in!
Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, and John Collins. On paper, that's a championship caliber team. But here's the thing, this team isn't just built to win now, it has to win now. Because between aging stars, injury histories, and a brutal Western Conference, the margin for error is zero. So the question is, did the Clippers just build a super team or their own funeral? The Los Angeles Clippers won 50 games last season, but saw their run come to an end after a 7-game series loss to the Denver Nuggets in the first round. Instead of just running it back with the same core, especially with all the other moves happening around the NBA, the Clippers decided to go all in for next season. Since the start of the offseason, the Clippers have made major moves and signings that have completely transformed their roster from top to bottom. They added Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, and John Collins. 4 high-level veterans who bring everything from playmaking to rim protection to scoring off the dribble. And in terms of departures, the only major piece they lost was Norman Powell, who was traded to Miami. All in all, the result is one of the deepest, most veteran-loaded rosters in the Western Conference, built to win now with no excuses. But here's the thing, the Clippers didn't just stack talent this offseason, they built a roster that finally looks like it understands the task at hand. For a franchise still chasing its first finals appearance, these weren't overly flashy moves. They were smart ones. Veteran pieces, playoff resumes, no nonsense. And now, the Clippers are quietly sitting on one of the most battle-tested rotations in the league. Experience everywhere. Shooting, rim protection, guys who've actually been there.
Wallace misses the dunk.
And nothing sums that up better than the signing of Brook Lopez. At first glance, it's easy to brush off. 17 years in, Brook's not the same guy he was in his prime. But when you take a deeper look, this might be the best backup big the Clippers have had in years. The bar was set pretty low with Moses Brown, Mo Bamba, Mason Plumlee, all unexciting options of reliable backup centers. And then here comes Brook, 13 points, 5 rebounds, nearly 2 blocks per game last season. He started over 1,000 games in his career. That's not just experience, that's consistency and stability. But the real value isn't just in the box score. Brook has been one of the league's best rim protectors for almost a decade. He's not mobile, he's not switchy, but he's good at one thing, defending the paint. And for his Clippers team that's been cooked at the rim far too often, that matters a lot. And here's the crazy part, he can shoot, like actually shoot. Over his last 7 seasons in Milwaukee, Brook averaged nearly 5 3-point attempts a game at a 35.7% clip. That's huge, not for spacing alone, but for lineup flexibility. The Clippers have been searching for a true stretch big forever. Now they have one. And the best part, he's not even starting. Brook will likely play 15 to 20 minutes a night behind Zubats, giving the Clippers a completely different look off the bench. Interior defense, floor spacing, low maintenance, plug and play. But Brook Lopez wasn't the only battle-tested vet the Clippers added this summer.
Give the Bucks the lead. Garland dropping it on Brook with the block.
In one of the most talked about moves of the offseason, they brought back Chris Paul, the face of the Lob City era, and the point guard who defined a generation of Clippers basketball. From 2011 to 2017, CP3 played some of the best basketball of his career in a Clippers uniform, teaming up with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan to form one of the most electrifying teams in the league. But this reunion isn't a fairy tale. Not really, because the Chris Paul returning today isn't the same player who once dropped 20 and 10 while locking down both ends of the floor. What he is though, is still valuable. Paul may be 40, but he remains one of the smartest players in the league. A true floor general with decades of playoff experience and a reputation as one of the game's most respected leaders. And last season, he quietly had one of his most durable years in a while. Suiting up for all 82 games with the Spurs, he averaged 8.8 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 7.4 assists per game on 42.7% from the field, 37.7% from 3, and 92.4% from the line, all while turning it over just 1.6 times per night.
The bump, the lean, fires a long shot. Oh!
He even showed some juice from deep, hitting nearly 38% of his threes on solid volume. While he's no longer racking up highlight steals like he used to, he's still averaging 1.3 steals per game and remaining a disruptive on-ball presence. What the Clippers are getting isn't vintage CP3, but they don't need that. They just need a steady hand, someone who can control the pace, run the second unit, hit timely shots, and keep the offense organized when Harden or Kawhi are off the floor. And right now, Chris Paul can still do that at a high level. That said, while Brook and CP3 will play key roles for the Clippers, the real X factor in all of this might be Bradley Beal. The second the Clippers moved Norman Powell to Miami, it felt like something was coming. And sure enough, Beal was the follow-up. A lot of people questioned that swap, especially after Powell just had the best scoring season of his career, 21.8 points per game on 48.4% shooting, including a lights-out 41.8% from three. He gave them a ton of scoring and played his role to perfection. But despite the optics, Beal is a clear upgrade, at least on paper. Yeah, things in Phoenix didn't exactly click between injuries, ball handling overlap, and role uncertainty. Beal's year and a half at the Suns wasn't easy to evaluate, but the numbers weren't bad. He averaged 17.6 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 4.3 assists over 106 games in Phoenix, while shooting 50.5% from the field and 40.7% from deep on 4.7 attempts per game. That's not washed at all. And here's the bigger picture. Beal gives the Clippers a dynamic three-level scorer who can operate on or off the ball, something they haven't truly had next to Kawhi and Harden. He spent most of last season learning how to play off the ball next to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, which maps closely to the situation he's walking into in LA.
Beal gets a handoff, gets the baseline runner up and in.
The goal isn't for Beal to be a 30-point scorer again. It's to fit, to move without the ball, to hit open shots of Harden and Kawhi's gravity, and when needed, to take over possessions late in the clock and create something out of nothing. That's what separates him from Powell, the ability to shift into a lead role when it matters. If he stays healthy, and that's a big if, Beal has the tools to be the third star this team's been searching for. And then of course you've got John Collins, who's been around for a while and is coming off arguably the second best season of his career, averaging 19 points, 8.2 rebounds, a steal, and a block per game for the Jazz. He shot 52.7% from the field and a career-high 39.9% from three on 3.7 attempts per game. From the moment the Clippers made the trade, it was clear that the biggest value Collins brings is his rebounding and interior scoring. The West is only getting bigger. The Thunder now play with two bigs in Chet and Hartenstein. The Rockets added Capella to an already deep front court with Şengün and Adams, and also brought in multiple big wings. The Timberwolves kept their twin towers, and Denver just traded for Jonas Valanciunas. The Clippers needed size badly, swapping out a small scoring guard like Norm Powell for a springy forward like Collins gives them a much-needed physicality and interior presence. He gives James Harden a real lob threat, helps control the glass, and adds a backline defender with bounce. He's relentless on the boards, can stretch the floor, 36.3% career from deep, and is a more well-rounded scorer than someone like Derrick Jones Jr., who's more of a pure 3-and-D guy. There may be lineups where Collins is the only big on the floor, and that's fine. He's quicker and more mobile than Lopez or Zubats. Add him to a front court that already features Brook and Zubats, and suddenly you've got one of the deepest big man rotations in the league, something you need in a Western Conference full of giants. Bringing it all together, the Clippers have built a balanced team, one with defense, size, length, shooting, shot creation, and playoff experience.
Kawhi for the win. Yes! Hot!
It's the kind of roster built to survive a 7-game series against anyone. At point guard, James Harden is still one of the best passers in the league. He's backed up by Chris Paul, whose basketball IQ is elite, and Chris Dunn, who brings toughness and defense. At shooting guard, Bradley Beal gives you a guy who can drop 25 on a good night. Dunn, Bogdanovic, and rookie Cam Christie add spacing, ball movement, and bench scoring. Kawhi Leonard anchors the wing as a two-way star. Derrick Jones Jr. backs him up with athleticism and solid perimeter defense. At the 4, John Collins brings energy and bounce, while Nicholas Batum gives you veteran smarts and shooting. And in the middle, there's Ivica Zubats for a classic big man size, Brook Lopez for rim protection and shooting, and Nate Niederhauser as a young project with upside. This roster checks every box: multiple ball handlers, reliable shooters, defenders who can switch, and the flexibility to play big or small without giving up much on either end. No matter the opponent, they can match up and compete, whether it's a half-court grind or a fast-paced shootout. But that said, for years now, the Clippers had been one of those teams that always looked great on paper until something goes wrong. And lately, it's been the same story: health. This current Clippers squad has 8 players who are 31 or older, which makes their age and durability a real concern. Can Kawhi stay healthy? What about Harden, Bradley Beal, Brook Lopez, CP3? With Kawhi, injuries are nothing new. He hasn't played a full season since joining the Clippers and only managed 37 games this past year. And the difference is night and day when he's on the court. The Clippers won 18 of their last 21 games, a stretch where they had the #1 offense in the league, largely because Kawhi was available. Now, he didn't enter the offseason with any injury or need for surgery, and is expected to be ready for opening night. But even so, what's the guarantee he'll stay healthy? As for Harden, he's actually been pretty durable the last couple of seasons, and the Clippers are hoping that trend continues. CP3 and Brook Lopez don't have a long injury history either, but their age alone raises questions. Then there's Bradley Beal, maybe the biggest question mark of them all. He's played just 50, 53, and 53 games in the past 3 seasons.
Lyles trying to save. And now, the three-pointer.
That's not the kind of consistency you want from a core player. So the truth is, there's no solid reason to believe the Clippers will stay healthy as a team across the full regular season. Too many players come with risk, but ironically, if there's any roster built to survive injuries, it might be this one. Even without Kawhi or Beal, the Clippers have options. Bogdan Bogdanovic can slide in with a similar skill set. Derrick Jones Jr. adds bounce and athleticism. Chris Dunn raises the defensive floor. If both Beal and Kawhi miss time, Harden still has weapons around him in Ivica Zubats and John Collins. If Harden's the one out, CP3 and Beal can keep things moving, at least in the short term. But here's the real question. How many games will these guys actually play together before the playoffs? Will they have enough time to build chemistry and understand each other's tendencies? Or will it be another season of injuries, missed time, and disjointed play? If it's the former, the Clippers could be cooking. If it's the latter, it might just be more of the same. And then you get the chemistry issues a retooled roster brings. New faces mean new roles, and not everyone's going to love theirs. Who starts? Who comes off the bench? This team is loaded with talent, but fitting all those pieces together takes time, sacrifice, and trust. It's one thing to build a stacked roster, it's another to get everyone to buy in when minutes shrink, touches disappear, and wins aren't guaranteed. And when you've got a locker room full of vets and strong personalities, there's a thin line between experience and unstable.
Well, all 3 of us played together.
All in all, LA is older, but also deeper and more versatile than last season, giving them a better shot at ending their long championship drought. But that's true for a lot of teams in the West. Outside of the Thunder, who've earned the benefit of the doubt after a title-winning season, no one's guaranteed to stay out of the play-in mix. For the Clippers, the gamble is clear. They're relying on a group of aging vets. Paul, Beal, and Lopez are still high-level role players, which gives LA a solid floor. Honestly, if this roster came together in the mid-2010s, they might have won a ring. But stacking aging stars doesn't guarantee a title, especially not in the most competitive conference in the league. That said, if you look around the West and factor in what LA added, Beal, Brook, Collins, and CP3, and it's hard not to see them as a top 3 or 4 team, assuming everyone stays healthy. Given that seeds 3 through 5 all won 50 games last year, with the Clippers finishing 5th, there's no reason to think they can't finish higher this time with an even better roster. At the very least, they should match last season, and if things click, they could easily take a serious leap. Last year, the Clippers were legit contenders who just had the bad luck of running into Jokic in round 1. Their response? Make Brook Lopez the best backup center in the league.
Prince to Brook Lopez. Got the size advantage against Coffey and takes it.
And basically swap Norman Powell for John Collins and Bradley Beal. That's a strong bounce back. Sure, their star power doesn't quite stack up to OKC, Denver, or Houston, the clear top 3 in the West, and maybe the entire league, but this Clippers team is built to compete with any of them. On paper, they might be even more dangerous than they were last year. That said, if the Clippers are to make their first NBA Finals appearance, a lot of things have to go well for them. For one, they all have to be healthy. Not 100%, but good enough to play enough games together as a unit in the regular season and be available for the postseason. Most especially Beal and Kawhi, who need to log 60+ games each to build rhythm and chemistry. Then, each member of the team must fully embrace their role. Beal has to complement Kawhi and Harden in multiple ways, whether as a secondary ball handler, a scoring option in the mid-range, or someone who can replicate Norman Powell's off-ball movement and the gravity that comes with it. CP3 needs to control the pace, make smart decisions, and run the offense with the same calm and efficiency he showed during his brief stint in San Antonio. Brook Lopez has to anchor the defense and stretch the floor when he plays. And John Collins needs to thrive as the energy guy, rebounding, cutting, rim running, and doing all the dirty work. But matchups will matter just as much. An early round series against OKC or Denver could end things before they even begin. But if they draw slower, more traditional teams that lean on structure over speed, the Clippers' experience, size, and shot creation should give them a serious edge. If they can check those boxes, the Clippers could easily be in the conference finals. For a franchise still searching for its first championship, this kind of offseason might end up being more important than any flashy headline move. The Clippers made the kind of mature, under-the-radar decisions the championship teams often point to later as a turning point. Yes, the age and injury risk are still there, and that's why they aren't the top favorites out west, but they're close enough to be in the mix. And come playoff time, that's really all they'll need. So where do you rank the Clippers in the West? Are they right there with OKC, Denver, and Houston, or still a tier below? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.